Hey, good day, everyone. Thanks for joining me on today. My name is Deb Howard, your Abundant Life Coach. As you already know, I help amazing folks overcome limiting beliefs about money so they can live their most abundant life. And I am excited to be here to talk to you again. We're going to have a brief conversation today. So, this is Financial Friday. Mm. Throughout the month of April, which was Financial Literacy Month, I've been doing a different topic on financial literacy. I have been discussing quite a bit about uh, defining some key terms. And today, um, we're going to talk a little bit about stewardship. Actually, we're going to discuss how we generate wealth with stewardship. Now, I know that many times we don't think about generating wealth with stewardship. Um, we look at stewardship as being more of a way to manage, right? How we manage our resources, and truly that is true, right? Stewardship is the managing of something, is the careful and responsible management of something that's entrusted to your care. So I think, we tend to just think about the management part, and that's important, right? Because we need to manage or allocate our resources appropriately as good stewards of God. All right, God expects that of us, what we have in our hands, right? He has entrusted in our hands, whether it's resources or children or gifts and talents, whatever it is, right? We are really called to manage that appropriately. And I thought this was a good time to just kind of bring this up, right? Put this at the forefront of your thinking, that you are responsible for all the resources that you have. So we are called to do that, but being a good steward when we manage and allocate resources appropriately, it's going to equate to us generating wealth, right? Because stewardship is more than that. And we have many examples in the Bible, Joseph and the parable of the servants. I forgot that parable. Which one? The talents. Yeah, the parable of the talents. I'm not going to get into all that today because we're not going to be here long, because I really just want to point out a few things to you. So, stewardship and generating wealth. And I don't think we can talk about financial literacy without talking about stewardship. So it's managing or allocating our resources. But another responsibility that we have is to invest wisely. All right. So in the parable of the talents, we know, and the menus, right? Jesus made two parables basically about the importance of investing, right? The one, we know the story, the others, went and invested and made their money work for them, their talents or their menus work for them. And the one went and buried his talent, right? He went and just held on to it, didn't allow it to work for him. And so when it comes to the resources that we have, it's important, right? Um, money, because of inflation, it's losing its value. And so it's important for us to invest wisely. And when I say invest wisely, I mean being able um, to see or forecast what the return will be. So whether that's money, now, if you're investing, there are professionals that you can talk to, or you can do your own research, right? Whichever way, to determine how to invest money, right? Because there's high risk, high return, low risk, low return, right? We're not going to get into that either. But I also want to bring to your attention that investing your time, investing your talent, I was thinking about sometimes we want to invest because we use that word quite a bit. We want to invest in ourselves. And so, what I want to put before you is when you are looking at investing, because this is part of stewardship, you definitely want to invest with a trusted source, right? You know, Even when we determine how we're going to invest our time to worship, right? Whether you go to church or whether you watch online, um, you should be looking for trusted sources, right? I mean, it's your soul. It's that whole soul thing. So you're looking for a trusted source. So when you are investing, you should always be looking for trusted sources, right? You should always be looking for others that can attest to the trustworthiness of an individual because you're investing, right? So what is going to be my return? Sometimes we do things and we don't know, what am I actually going to get out of this? How is this going to help me? Or how is this going to benefit me? How am I going to get value added through this? Because that is what an investment is. An investment, when you invest, whether it's money, whether it's time or talent, whatever it is, if you're investing, right? That's the key word. If you're investing, then there should be a return that you expect in some way, right? If you go to school, right, you say, hey, I'm going to go take Spanish classes, I'm going to invest in learning a different language. That's great. So for the money that I invest, the cost of the class, I am going to reap understanding a different language. Now, I'll take it even further. How is that second language going to benefit you now that you've invested money and time? All right, because you had to do both to learn that language. How is that going to benefit you? And I know, especially with this particular example, right? Many of you, oh, that's going to be no problem. Really? Is it no problem? Are you in a position where you would get more income if you learn that second language, right? Are you in a position that you are going to start a ministry or a business because of that second language? I'm talking about investing. Okay. So I want us to learn to get into that habit because this is part of stewardship. You can learn a second language if you just want to, but it's not an investment, right? It's a hobby. I'm gonna take up this hobby, right? And it's more of an expense because, I'm probably not going to reap. Okay, that's just an example, y'all. So don't get mad at me. But I just really want you to start thinking about that, right? So part of stewardship is investing wisely, uh, planning for the future, right? So we should be planning. I know, take no thought for tomorrow, and it has its own problems. I got that scripture. But we also have to be like the ant, right? Because the scripture gives us that too. Who plans for the winter, who does the work, invest this time because the ant knows that a time is, I don't know if it knows this or not, but I'm thinking it knows a time is going to come when resources aren't as readily available. Come on now. So we have to have a plan, even in this season. Let's talk about this season for a minute because we've heard, those of you who are faith-based, you may have heard a lot of news about, things that may be coming, right? You may have heard prophetic words. You may have heard news off of from the media. Listen, are you planning for the future? Not about being fear-based, but if you can foresee that there may be a time of limited resources, then your plan should be to prepare for that, however way the Lord leads you. But as a rule, right? If we are going to be good stewards, it not only entails us managing our resources, not just investing, but we're also planning, right? We're also praying and asking God, how do I prepare for whatever, right? We all prepare, or many of us prepare for retirement. That's planning for the future. And so, those of us who have financial challenges, I'll just say this, many times it's because we're living in the moment and we are not looking past the current crisis. Mm. right? We're not looking past where we are in this moment. Okay, maybe I don't have sufficiency in this moment, right? But I am doing XYZ. I am going to adjust whatever, whatever, right? I'm not just going to make decisions based on right now, what I'm feeling right now, right? Because I need to look at, I can't eat everything in my cabinet for breakfast. I mean, that's foolish, right? I'm not gonna have anything for dinner, for tomorrow's breakfast. Maybe you only need to eat once a day. I don't know. So when I get up in the morning, there's no food. And that's when we make bad decisions, when we're not planning, right? Planning. We need to have a plan. Plan. I'm not telling you to plan for 50 years, but plan, right? We do have to have reasonable plans for the future, right? And I mentioned Joseph earlier. Joseph, interpreted a dream from the Bible. He interpreted a dream for the Pharaoh of time of famine was coming. And what did they do? They planned, they made preparations, right, for how to respond to this season of lack that was coming upon their land. All right. So we do have to plan. That's part of being a good steward. And of course, uh, can't finish this off without serving and giving generously. Good stewardship is not just about, of course, accumulating wealth and doing all the things, but it's about what we do with what we have. And because we are stewards of God, we have a responsibility to serve, right, with our time, talents, gifts, and to give. And sometimes I hear this quite a bit from faith-based believers that they want to give. I hear this all the time. If I had it, I would give. I want to give. I want to help out. I want to do these major things. But as you can see, at least in my little dialogue today, serve and give generously came after managing and planning and investing, right? Because we do need to have those resources allocated, right? You do have to plan. It's going to require you to actually look at your finances on a regular basis to determine what's going out, what's coming in, and what I can give. Now, I know many of you may believe in tithing, and so you do that off the bat. That's great. But you still need to manage the 90%, right? Manage and allocate those resources that you have left over. And it's going to require you, right, to plan, right? You're going to have to plan how to do that, right? You're going to have to plan when your bills are due. It's a whole thing, right? You got to plan, right? Because generating wealth with stewardship is the goal. And if we invest wisely, let's go back over 'em. I know I'm popping them up. If we manage our and allocate our resources, if we invest wisely, which means a portion of our money is working on our behalf, right? Whether it's however way you invest it, right? Um, it's working, right? My money is making money. That investment could be a business. It could be a side hustle, could be it could be in the stock market. It could be in real estate. It could be an investment in somebody else's business, right? Another business, which is basically the stock market, right? You understand that when you invest in the stock market, you're basically buying a little piece of another company. Um, yeah, so there are ways, but we can't do that if we're not planning, and it's hard to do the serve and give if we are not good stewards with everything else. Look, I know somebody out there telling me, listen, I give and I don't do any of that. How's that working for you? So thank you. Thank you for joining me on today. As we round our financial literacy month, I hope this was a blessing to you. I hope it helped you. I'm always so thankful to those of you who take the time to share this time with me. Um, I'm just thankful for you, and I pray that you continue to prosper in all that you do. I want to remind you, of course, that we have a summit coming up in October 2024, October 19th, 2024, the Kingdom Wealth Warriors Summit. It is um, a financial summit, empowered to prosper. And so we are going to have some great speakers that are going to share with us some, man, I know some dynamic principles. I've heard these people and I'm just excited about it. They're gonna You're going to leave that conference inspired, motivated, and educated. You're gonna have tools and resources that will help you in all these areas. You're going to get guidance and tools on how to manage your resources, how to invest wisely, planning for the future, and of course, serving and giving generously. So I'm excited about that. If you're interested, it's wealthwarriorsarise.com. I'll put that in the comments also. And yeah, I hope to see you there. Until then, or until next time, right? Because I'm gonna be back. You know that, right? Until then, go ahead and generate wealth with your stewardship and go have your most abundant day.